Greetings, kindred friend. Let us spend a quiet moment right now. Imagine a house when the evening shadow is gradually falling, the space so quiet that you can clearly hear the ticking of the clock in the corner. The phone on the table also seems to ring less than before. The roles that once defined your life, the decisive manager, the pillar shouldering the whole family, now suddenly quietly disappear like morning mist, leaving a vast emptiness. Cruelly, there is a silent pain that few dare to name. That is the feeling of seemingly no longer being needed as much as before. The world out there still rushes by, absorbed in honoring youth and brilliant beginnings, but forgets to spare a comforting word for the stillness after so many years of storms. Amidst the empty room, an existential question suddenly knocks on your heart. Now, where do I truly belong in this flow? However, dear friend, Buddhist wisdom gives you a tolerant awakening. Old age has never been a withering. It is actually the most sacred purification stage of a human life. Look, the longer a tea branch steeps in hot water, the more pure fragrance it radiates. Fruit must go through enough sun and rain to reach sweet ripeness, and only a truly still lake is capable of fully reflecting the magnificent beauty of the vast sky. In tonight's contemplative journey, we will together explore 6 small daily habits, mindful anchors helping you water your own soul, rediscover serenity, and truly feel at home right inside your own soul. Let your mind rest, because you are about to realize that your true radiance, it turns out, is only just beginning. Habit 1. Receiving. The dawn in stillness. Dear friend, let me lead you back to the purest moment of a day. That is when dawn has just broken, when a thin mist still covers all things and the world is still sunk in the gentle breath of sleep. Do you know? The early morning carries within it a strangely pure energy source, a sacred empty space that the universe reserves just for you before all the noise rushes in. Remember the years of youth, when the morning was often associated with urging alarm clocks, with stressful schedules and hurried footsteps to catch up with the vortex of livelihood. But now, when hair has turned gray and the pace of life has slowed down, the morning is no longer a race. It has become an opportunity for you to establish a sanctuary of awakening right in your own soul. However, there is a silent habit that is stealing this treasure of ours. Many of us, as soon as we open our eyes, hurriedly reach for the phone, letting ourselves be swept away in the waterfall of anxiety-inducing news, or letting the mind swirl in the regrets of yesterday and the plans for today. We unintentionally let the noise of the world invade when the soul is still most sensitive and fragile. Tomorrow morning, I invite you to try a different way of greeting the new day. Upon waking up, please do not hurriedly leave the bed. Just lie still there for a few more minutes, enveloping yourself in the soft warmth of the blanket. Bring your attention back to the breath, the most loyal anchor of the soul. In Buddhist wisdom, this is exactly the act of returning home. Feel the cool air entering the nostrils and the gentle warmth exiting. The breath is never in the past, nor in the future. It always loyally stays with you right in this moment. Before your feet touch the floor, gently place a hand on your chest, feel the persistent beat of your heart, and silently whisper a blessing. Today is another gift bestowed. May I live a very gentle day? Let every movement after that, from stretching gently to taking a sip of warm water, be performed in reverence and slowness. When you start a new day with stillness, you are not just starting a day, but you are clearing the lake surface of your consciousness. The world out there may still be full of agitations, but when you step out the door, you have carried with you a flat, clear lake surface, capable of reflecting all the beauty of life without being shaken by unintentional winds. Habit 2. Reconciling with the devoted companion. Greetings. When the mind has found a harbor in the stillness of the early morning, I want to invite you to perform an act of compassion right on this very form. Try placing your hand on the skin that has imprinted the traces of time and listen to the silent beat beneath the shirt. You know what? Throughout the 60 long miles of human life, this body has been the most loyal servant you have ever had. It has carried you through the steep slopes of your career, stayed awake with you those nights worrying for your children, and silently shouldered all the pressures that sometimes your mind could not bear. However, have we ever stopped to truly say a word of thanks to this devoted friend? When stepping into the twilight years, the body begins to converse with us in a different language, the language of slowness, a bit of stiffness in the knee joints when the weather turns cold, a fatigue in the lower back after a long day, or footsteps no longer as nimble as before. How many times have you felt angry and exclaimed, "This body is betraying me"? But according to the wisdom of awakening, the body has not failed at all. Those pains or slowness are exactly sacred messages. It is reminding you that, slow down a bit, be gentler with me. Imagine your body as a soulmate who has gone with you through tens of thousands of miles of stormy roads. Now, when that friend has tired knees and weary feet, will you choose to reproach, or will you choose to smile and walk slower with them? Caring for yourself right now is not an effort to train a machine, but an act of love. Tomorrow morning, instead of rushing, take a few minutes to stretch your body very gently right on the familiar chair. Perform the walking meditation ritual, walking slowly in the yard or park for just about 10 minutes. Do not walk to get anywhere. Walk so every footstep touching the Mother Earth is an affirmation. I am here. I am truly living in this moment. Nourish the physical temple with the simplest and purest meals, a hot bowl of vegetable soup, a sip of clear water. Eat very slowly, tasting the full flavor of heaven and earth in every small bite. And most importantly, dear friend, allow yourself to rest without feeling guilty anymore. Engrave this truth into your heart. Resting is not a manifestation of weakness. Resting is exactly how you allow the body to perform its greatest healing mission. Rest is not weakness. It is the sacred space for healing. Tonight, let the body completely surrender under the warm blanket, reconciling with every pain through loving kindness, because you and this companion deserve to be peaceful after a long journey of dedication. Habit 3. Simplifying your world, when less is freedom. Greetings. When we have learned how to treat the physical body with compassion, I invite you to join me on another journey. The journey through your very own living space. Imagine your life is like a train departing from a radiant dawn. Throughout that long journey, we have a natural instinct to pick up everything along the way and put it into our carriage, decorative items, achievements, responsibilities, and even the expectations of others. We believe that the fuller the carriage, the sturdier and wealthier life is. However, as the train gradually heads towards sunset, the rhythm of life suddenly changes. You suddenly realize your carriage is becoming too heavy. Every item, every forced obligation demands a part of your attention, a bit of energy to preserve and maintain. A silent truth begins to become clear under the light of wisdom. You truly do not need to own that much to feel at peace. Try quietly looking around your house right now. The corners of the room, bookshelves, or drawers. Do they bring you a feeling of expansiveness, lightness, or are they silently weighing heavily on your mind? In Buddhist wisdom, clutter does not only lie in tangible material things. Clutter is actually a form of attachment. Old items you don't use but can't bear to throw away. They are like thin threads tying your soul to the past. More painfully, clutter also hides in the form of emotional rubbish, an old resentment about a person who has left a social obligation that no longer brings warmth, or an image of yourself in the past that you are still exhaustingly trying to maintain. Tonight, I invite you to perform a liberation ritual for yourself. Tomorrow morning, when the sun just begins to rest on the window frame, pick the smallest corner in the house. It could just be a cabinet drawer, a bookshelf, or a corner of the dressing table. Slowly pick up each item with cherishing hands. Instead of asking, "Should I throw this away?" honestly ask your heart, "Does this still serve the peace of my soul today?" If the answer is no, Perform the action of a Zen master. Smile. Silently thank that item for accompanying you for a stretch of the road, then gently let it go. When you clear a physical space, you are silently cleaning up a hidden corner in your consciousness. Every item set down is a thought loosened. Every empty space created is a breath becoming expansive again. Understand this liberating truth. The true wealth of old age does not lie in accumulating, but lies in the power to let go. When the surrounding world becomes minimalist, your mind will no longer be distracted by excess noises. You will be amazed to realize that, when your hands are empty, only then can you truly embrace the complete stillness of reality into your heart. Sleep in the lightness of a soul that has bravely shed the burden, to make room for the light of awakening to radiate in its own house. Habit 4. Nourishing. The house of the mind. When presence is the panacea. Greetings. After we have cleaned the external space for the soul to breathe, I invite you to step with me into the most important room of your life. Your true house is not built of bricks and stones or precious wood, but is woven from the very streams of thoughts flowing by every day. That is the only place you reside every minute, every hour, from waking up until sinking into deep sleep. There is an ironic reality that we often spend our whole lives blaming circumstances, the weather, or the heartlessness of people for making us sad. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us of a profound truth. The world out there is merely a mirror reflecting the climate inside your mind. Suffering does not truly come from you getting older, but comes from how your mind is conversing with that aging, especially when crossing the other slope of life. Our minds seem to have an invisible pull taking us away from reality. It leads us back to the cemeteries of regret with heartbreaking questions. If only I had done differently back then, or I should have tried harder. Or sometimes, it shoots straight to the mist of the future to pick up anxieties. What if one day I can no longer take care of myself? We lie on a cozy bed, but the soul is wandering in the stormy lands of memory and imagination. Tonight, I want to give you an ultimate liberating truth, so you can sleep peacefully. You are not your thoughts. Imagine your mind is like a vast, still, and eternal sky. Anxious thoughts, regrets, or plans, they are just birds flying across that sky. There are birds carrying the brilliant colors of joy. There are also birds carrying the gloomy black color of fear. They can fly in, perch on a branch for a moment, and then are forced to flap their wings and fly away. But the sky, which is your very being, is always there, clear blue, expansive, and never hurt by any bird. You do not need to chase the birds away. You only need to realize you are exactly the sky containing them. To nourish this house, tomorrow I invite you to practice a simple art of living, one-pointedness of mind. The modern world teaches us to multitask, to be considered productive, but exactly that splitting of the mind has exhausted our souls. Try starting from the smallest things. When you wash a bowl, truly feel the cool water gliding through your fingers and the light scent of soap. When you drink a cup of tea, just know the tea flavor is gradually melting on the tip of the tongue. Do not wash the bowl to get it over with. Wash the bowl just to be washing the bowl. This complete presence will gather the fragments of your mind, turning them into a unified, sturdy block. When you stop chasing ghosts in your head, you will realize that, right here, in this serene breath, the house of your mind has inherently been extremely magnificent and peaceful. Sleep in the protection of the eternal sky that is you. Habit 5. Gratitude. Unearthing. The spring of sovereign bliss. Greetings. When the mind has begun to calm down like a flat lake after a summer rain, I want to invite you to touch another silent source of power. A source of power that can turn the most ordinary things into sacred miracles. That is exactly the art of gratitude. Let us go back in time together, remembering our vibrant youthful years. Back then, happiness to us was often dazzling peaks, explosive moments of achievement, a promotion, a new possession, or the excitement of distant journeys. Those joys were brilliant and overwhelming like radiant fireworks in the night sky. However, dear friend, do you realize the rule of fireworks? It only flares up in a blink of an eye and then fades out, leaving behind a silent darkness and a mind always craving the next illumination. We have spent our whole lives chasing those smoke trails while forgetting the serene beat of present happiness. Stepping into the autumn of life, when the bustles out there gradually subside, we are gifted an opportunity to taste a completely different form of happiness. It is not noisy, needs no audience. It is more stable and profound than ever before. That is exactly the bliss coming from gratitude. Unlike fireworks, gratitude is like a warm oil lamp placed in the middle of an empty room. It does not blind anyone, but it has the ability to warm your soul through every darkness. Tonight, before you let yourself melt into the dream of rebirth, I invite you to perform a ritual of watering the soul. Lie very still. Loosen your jaw muscles. Let your shoulders completely hang loose on the mattress and gently whisper to your heart, "What are 3 small things today that made me feel at peace?" Please do not look for extraordinary or grand things. Find pearls of wisdom in the simplest fragments of today. It could be the faint streak of late sunlight dancing on the windowsill that suddenly made your heart soften. It could be the clear chirping of birds on the porch when you just woke up, or simply the warmth from the ceramic cup radiating into your palms when you took a sip of afternoon tea. Sometimes it is just a short, inquiring call from an old friend, bringing news that you are still cherished in someone's heart. Dear friend, gratitude is not a magic potion that makes all difficulties or physical pains disappear immediately. But gratitude is exactly a new pair of eyes. It helps you understand this truth. Even amidst the flaws of reality, beauty always exists. Gratitude does not make your life perfect, but it helps you realize you have inherently been extremely full. When you begin to acknowledge these small graces, your nervous system will receive an ultimate safety signal. The brain will stop the scanning for danger state to switch to the peacefully enjoying state. Let those grateful thoughts wrap around you like a soft silk cocoon. Tonight, you owe the world no more effort. You do not need to achieve anything to feel valuable. You only need to be present and acknowledge the blessings that life has silently bestowed. Sleep in the fulfillment of someone who has found a treasure right inside their chest, still, whole and full of light. Habit 6. Radiating loving kindness when compassion is the final legacy. Greetings, our journey for morning stillness, cherishing the body, simplifying space to the underground spring of gratitude, has brought us to the noblest threshold of the soul. After having cleaned and nourished the inner temple, this is the time we let that light radiate to the surrounding world. Throughout the previous half of our lives, our ego was always busy with the question, "Who am I?" We strove to become a successful person, a majestic father, or a resourceful mother. However, there is a sacred moment when crossing age 60, you will realize that becoming someone in the eyes of the world all this time suddenly no longer matters. You receive a great privilege, the right to shed all masks to simply be yourself, the purest and truest existence. Many people at this age often fall into a silent contemplation. What is my purpose in life now when all races have concluded? Chapter. Dear friend, Buddhist wisdom gives you an answer that lightens the whole soul. Your value is no longer measured by what you produce, but is measured by how you love. The strength of old age does not lie in hands gripping power tightly, but lies in a heart that knows how to open wide in tolerance. In the language of enlightened beings, there is a concept called karuna, compassion. Karuna is not something distant or untouchably holy. It is simply the profound intention wishing for oneself and everyone around to escape the tightenings of pain. In the twilight years, you are exactly the most radiant embodiment of this loving kindness. Because you have gone far enough to understand humanity and experienced deeply enough to know how to love the clumsiness of human life. Tonight, I invite you to perform the gentlest revolution of the soul. Turn your presence into a healing medicine. Tomorrow, when stepping out into the world, You do not need to do extraordinary things. Gift your loved ones complete. Listening without judging, without preparing a reply, just so they feel understood. Give a stranger a gentle smile or reserve. Patience for the hot-tempered young people out there. You will be amazed to see that one tolerant look from you can soothe an entire tense nervous system of the person opposite. You are no longer someone seeking comfort. You have become a lighthouse, signaling peace. However, dear friend, that spring of loving kindness can only flow when your own heart is healed. Tonight, reserve compassion for the closest friend, that is yourself. Look at the mistakes, the regrets in the past, and whisper a sacred reconciliation. I forgive myself. At that time, I did the best I could with the amount of knowledge and strength I had. Do not use the eyes of a judge to look back at your life. Use the eyes of a mother looking at a small child learning to walk. You have resiliently gone through so many storms. That much alone is enough for you to receive complete love from yourself. Engrave this truth. Your kindness toward yourself is the foundation of all peace in this world. When you go to sleep with compassion, your nervous system will receive an ultimate peace command. The heart rate will be steadier, the breath will be more expansive, and the cells will enter the strongest regenerative state. You no longer owe the world a proof. You also no longer owe the past a punishment. Sleep in the warm aura of loving kindness. The night is deep. Allow the heart to loosen all attachments, so your soul is as weightless as a cloud, drifting leisurely amidst the still ocean of the long night. You are light, you are love, and tonight you are completely free. Greetings. Our journey of consciousness tonight through 6 anchors of peace has gradually arrived at the harbor of reconciliation. Do you realize something? Caring for yourself when getting old is not a selfish act. It is a sacred ritual for you to complete the noblest mission of a human life. Every still morning, every mindful step, every cherishing of the body, every act of simplifying space, every pearl of gratitude, and every beat of loving kindness. All are how you are finding the way back to yourself. Old age is not a flame gradually dying out in the darkness. It is like the most brilliant sunset before merging into eternity, a softer, warmer band of light carrying the insight of a whole long day. If this video brought your soul a little warmth, I invite you to press the subscribe channel button so we can continue to guide each other on this path of awakening. And right this moment, before sinking into deep sleep, which habit among the 6 above touched your heart most deeply? Please share with me in the comments section as a silent commitment to yourself. Wishing you a long night of peace, complete letting go, and waking up radiantly in the dawn of a new being. Goodbye, and see you again.